Are there deals to be had? How careful do we need to be? How can we look after ourselves financially and not, fall prey to it's 50% off today. Well, some of us know it probably was last month. Let's get an expert on. We can get a word with Scott Dixon now, who's our favourite consumer expert, known as the Complaints Resolver. He's with us on BBC Radio WM. Morning, Scott.
Good morning, Molly.
Happy Friday. You bought anything yet? Have you had your wallet out?
No, it's actually Buy Nothing Day as well as Black Friday, so I won't be buying anything today because I don't need anything. So.
Is it who started Buy Nothing Day? I like the sound of that.
I know, so do I.
Yeah, that's good. Obviously, that is, going against everything. Going against the consumerism of today.
Yeah, that's right.
For people, though, that do rub their hands in glee, Scott, in the run-up to this, thinking, right, I'm going to do all my big, expensive shopping, the things that I wanted all year that I've hung on for, they're going to be half the price today. Are they?
Not really, because which research found is comparing prices 6 months before and 6 months after Black Friday on a wide variety of products, they found that 98% of Black Friday deals were cheaper or at the same price at other times of the year. So that means that we only can expect 2% of the deals to be genuine. But interestingly, which price tracking has also found that nearly 9 in 10 flight and holiday deals from the likes of TUI, British Airways and P&O were cheaper on Black Friday. So there are deals out there to be found.
That's interesting. However, I'm going to reiterate what you said there. 'Cause when I read this morning, I actually double-took it. What? According to which 98% of Black Friday deals are not the cheapest price in the year. I mean, that's incredible. So how do we widen our eyes and get savvy as to what the prices were earlier on in the year? What sort of research should we do on what we think at face value is a deal?
Well, first of all, you just need to take your time and don't be rushed into misleading pop-ups saying 30 people are looking at this right now and countdown clocks and things like that, because retailers use the fear of missing out to lure you into rushed decisions. And you can check the deal price by using price comparison websites such as Price Spy, Price Runner, and Camel tracks Amazon prices to show you when the item was at its cheapest and when the price changed and by how much. And it also lets you set price alerts.
Oh, who decided to call it that? Camel.
Yeah, just put it into Google and you'll find it. Yeah.
You'll find it. You're right about the FOMO. I bought something that it was a cat medical product. I mean, I don't even bother telling you what it was, but it was nothing sort of overly exciting. But my heart rate was actually raised because when I went to look at it, there was a thing on the side. And I won't say which retailer it was. It was the big one that you've already mentioned, though.
Yeah.
And it said, if you order in, and it actually had a clock that was ticking. It had, a rotary second band that was going down. So, it was raising my heart rate. If you order in this clock time, I'll get half price postage or this. There was some deal. But, I almost got sucked in because the clock was moving. Just ridiculous.
Yeah. And interestingly, Voucher have been caught out by the Competition and Markets Authority on this last week, who fired a warning shot on them for what's referred to as sharp practices, which breached the consumer protection from unfair trade and regulations.
Yeah.
And they've put them on notice that they need to change their online sales practices because they are actively misleading consumers.
Misleading them with what regard?
Well, using like pop-up clocks and
that it won't be cheap. It still probably will be as cheap afterwards. So that's misleading.
Yeah, they're just enticing you into the fear of missing out, by rushing you into making a decision. And the Consumer Protection from Unfair Trade and Regulations bans acts and omissions that entice consumers on that. Mm. So, the Competition and Markets Authority are watching retailers closely and are taking action on it.
Oh, that's really interesting. It's interesting I saw that, this week. As far as reviews go, Scott, can we believe if we're looking at an item that's shoved in front of you? I mean, some things really pop up, don't they? And, they're sponsored. Have a look at this one. And it's got all these reviews. Legally, are all those reviews right? Has somebody written all those, or is there still sort of is that questionable still?
It is questionable, and it's estimated that maybe up to 30% of reviews online are fake. And a fake reviewer won't go into much detail as they've not had a genuine experience. So what you need to look out for is generic words such as amazing, beautiful, very good, bad, pathetic, and so on. And I've actually had a fake review made against me on my book back in May 2019. And there's nothing you can do about it, and
who does them, Scott? Who's writing them?
Well, it can be malicious, or it can just be just spiteful, competition, or somebody that's got a grudge against you or whatever. But what I would say is don't rely on star ratings alone, and watch out for the red flags. See if the reviewer is legitimate. Check for a flurry of reviews during a short time span, and look for the negative reviews and other verified purchases, and read independent product reviews from established sources. So don't take everything at face value, and just read between the lines, and just to be your own detective, really.
Yeah. Look after yourself. What about paying? What about when it comes, if you have done the camel, if you have made an informed choice and you're going to buy a product, how best to pay for it to protect ourselves?
Well, always pay by credit card wherever possible for purchases over £100, because it gives you additional free protection under Section 75 of the Consumer Credit Act 1974, which holds the credit card provider jointly liable for faulty goods. But even if you just pay by debit card, you've got up to 120 days to do what's called a chargeback. So if you're in a dispute with a retailer and they're not prepared to play ball with you, you can go to your bank or your credit card provider and cite breach of contract under the Consumer Rights Act 2015. And what the bank and credit card provider do is they simply reverse the payment and take the fight to the retailer for you, and asks the retailer to prove their case. So that doesn't mean that it's the end of the line, but it puts the onus on the retailer to prove that they are entitled to your money.
That's interesting. Well, listen, thank you for talking to us about Black Friday. You've just made me think of something which makes me want to rebook you very, very shortly. And I'm sure I've talked to you about this in the past, Scott, and that is if you have made the decision and you bought something, or, and of course we've got Christmas, other side of Christmas, or even before Christmas, deliveries.
Yeah, that's right.
Now that's a whole different interview.
Yeah, well, briefly, the Consumer Contracts Regulations 2013 gives you a 14-day cooling-off period for online purchases if you change your mind. So you've got up to 14 days to notify the retailer, and another 14 days thereafter to return the goods. If you've simply changed your mind, if you feel that you've just made a decision that you regret, buyer's remorse, you've got that option available to you. And if the goods are faulty, you've got a short-term right to reject for up to 30 days under the Consumer Rights Act 2015.
Or worse, Scott, and this is what I probably will need to speak to you about, if things they either don't turn up, or even worse, you get an email saying your £300 parcel's been delivered, and it hasn't. And I know I've spoken to you before on your rights on that aspect. It gives me anxiety even thinking about that. But
well,
can we speak?
Yeah, your contract's always with the retailer and not the courier. So it's up to them to prove that the risk of the goods belongs to the retailer until they've come into your possession. So you don't have to chase the courier if you've got a problem with a parcel delivery. Yeah,
it's a big one, that one is, and an expensive one as well. Scott, but thank you for your time today. Really appreciate it. What else? What did you say today was No Buy Friday as well?
It's Buy Nothing.
Oh, Buy Nothing. I'm going to write that down. Buy Nothing Day. Oh, yeah. I like that.
So buyer beware. And Black Friday isn't only just one day. It lasts for up to a month now, and we've got Cyber Monday as well. And it's not just one day. Don't feel as though you're pressured to buy today on anything. What's the difference between Cyber Monday? That's obviously Monday coming. What's the difference between Monday and today? It's the same deals, no? Yeah, same sort of deal, same sort of marketing gimmicks, just take them with a pinch of salt, really. They've just labelled the day so they can do it twice. How rude. Yeah, I know. Oh, it's lovely to have you on, Scott. If it's not too early, it's 31 days away, but Merry Christmas. Yeah, you too, Molly, and thanks again for having me on.
You're welcome. We'll speak soon. Cheers, Scott.
Again, bye.
Ta-ra, lovely. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Scott Dixon, our consumer expert, also known as the complaints resolver.